Hey, greetings YouTube, performance reviews, where I give you the review from the technician's point of view.
Alright, what we have here is a vintage Miele from 1987, and my friend Reggie has come to join me as we do this. And I already started taking it apart, folks, so my bad, you missed two screws coming out on the side, and me pulling off this weird sound absorption material. It's super weird. And then
also sort of an air directed baffle.
Yeah, it's like a baffle sound. It's like a muffler baffle all in one. It's not brittle, actually. I'm surprised. So, and then you can see this actually has a dusting brush that's really doesn't look like the right dusting brush, actually.
It is.
Is it the nylon? I think it should be longer. I think it's a replacement. Yeah. Anyways, it looks like somebody's dog chewed on these accessories, unfortunately. But
no, those are all the original.
There we go. Well, and then the other thing that's weird about these older Mieles, I remember when I worked on a few of the other ones, is they'll either have a metal thing here covered by like cardboard, but yeah, you have this here, and then this one is got some rust on it, so we might have to spray that before we put it back together and fix that rust. You can see the rust there. It's just really cool. So we'll start. Let's try not to give ourselves tetanus. Does this come off as one, or is there... Yes, it does. Yeah. Okay, so later they would complicate this. So now, man, that could be a Panasonic Kenmore, couldn't it?
I had to replace this housing
on yours.
Yeah.
This one's got a small
available
fraction crack there, but not enough that's going to hurt anything.
Mine, I had to replace it solely because the thing that held the one of the pedals in was busted.
Yeah.
And I had to replace the pedal as well because it was missing.
I kind of feel I should hand wash this.
I would.
Yeah, I don't want to risk anything because this is maybe unattainium at this point.
Yeah, I got some of the last parts available for this.
And that had to have been, how long ago was that you did yours, Reggie? Yeah, it was over 10 years ago. So, all right, well, what's this?
I think I may have gotten the very last hose. That's even a different hose.
Yeah, we got a different hose on here, but
you actually do have a new replacement, so that's good.
Yeah, I saw that. But this is
cool as the original hoses were. They did not last. Oh yeah, the junction block.
Oh no, that's a different switch than I was thinking of. Yeah, the junction block. I remember that this should just unclip right there. We're gonna pull some of this stuff off and look at it. That comes out somehow. Did I break it? No. Did I break it?
This aspect is a bit different.
This is very weird. There's no circuit board in here. No soft start. Well, actually, there's a circuit board there, so I guess that does soft. No, because the speed control. Oh, this is all weirdo. We'll just undo this.
Did this say 87 on it?
So I nipple dated this.
That's an 86.
86 motor, so that's close enough then. There's no lamb sticker on it.
Mine was dated at 85 on the circuit.
That would have been one of the first ones then. Because these were...
Yeah. Well, again, this is only made a year.
You should have put gloves on.
The board's only made a year after mine. So.
Yeah. And by 88, 89, they stopped this design.
These are extremely early. These are like the first several years of Miele.
They're coming into the United States.
To the United States, yeah.
Yeah, we never got the cool...
yeah, because I realized Miele was making machines well before this, but in the U.S., this is the first they imported.
Yeah, this was our first import run of... I undid this screw, but it didn't fall out. I believe all that pulls out if I remember right. I am... Oh. No, that's just from the... So we got this comes off like that. Yeah, okay, I didn't break that. Because I remember these pedals are funky. Oh man, this is...
You want to be very gingerly with those.
Very ginger. Aren't I always very gingerly? The gingerly ginger.
I wouldn't take the other pedal off.
No, I wasn't going to. I strictly want to get to the switch.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's necessary.
Otherwise, I probably would just... Oh my gosh. Let's see from the other side. Let's see if there's anything.
I would take some of the wires loose here. Mostly, I was just going to take these two yellow ones off.
The yellow ones, yeah. The yellow ones go to yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The color matched.
And you can see... Oh, this even pops out. That's cool. But you can see...
It's just a simple...
It's just a simple rheostat in there.
Or not a rheostat, a potentiometer.
Alright. So we got this off. And what's cool about any of the old Mieles is the color is actually molded as a separate piece of plastic and then, like, set up in the mold very... So we got this. Let's not mix our springs up today. Alright, this is a different switch than I was expecting in here. I was expecting that,
Same one as the plus?
Yeah. So this... Yeah. So, and it's a 110. Yeah, that's totally busted.
Forward.
You know, it's extremely straightforward, especially compared to the Kenmores of the day that were very complicated. This wiring block, actually, the more I look at it, it's...
There's nothing to it.
There's nothing to it. It all makes sense. It wouldn't be the end of the world. So, well, we're going to scrub all this stuff and turn the camera back on later. All right, I've got everything washed and polished, and I took apart the motor and lubricated the bearings. It's nothing special. It's a typical Amtech motor. The other thing I did was take a little bit of electrical cleaner to the switch, because when I was playing with the switch out of the machine, it started to click, so I was like, let's throw some electrical cleaner in there and see if that works. The other thing I found, and this is why you always need to inspect any old machine, is that the wire had come loose here and was like arcing, so I had to recap that and cut the wire. Luckily there was enough there for me to use the original wire. I still have this to put together. Everything about this is just like super peculiar, super cool, you know, and very Miele. Like there's nothing in here that's like overly not Miele. It's very, very much Miele. Let's see if I put that back in right. So if I did that right, we're gonna see. Excellent. All right, so that's in right. And that just goes right there. So we're gonna start putting everything kind of back where it was. The metal piece that went on here, I'll show that in a second. I had to spray paint that. That was, I don't know about that. That was something. So looking at this, hope that goes back and works, because if not, I could not find that switch anywhere. My friend Reggie was saying that he thought an ORC switch would work, but I don't want to have to bojack anything if we don't have to. So let's put this back together. This thing made me nervous taking it apart, so putting it back together is making me equally as nervous. Oh, I have a spring that goes in there. Looking at that. Yep. There's a spring. It's going to go right there. Man, this is, I think, actually the thing to do with this. And the switch has stopped working magically. Oh, now it's working again. That's going to be fun. So I will need to find one of those switches, but again, some of the stuff, just like the age of it, and not trying to bring politics into it, but a lot's happened in Germany, you know, since this was made. And some of those manufacturers, and especially in all of Europe, why they didn't come from... You know, I'm not saying they came from the communist section, but some of those manufacturers have gone out of business, and you know, are just not making that specific switch. So that is going to be really hard to come by. I believe this was the screw that was in there. Yeah. All right. So that's back, and a lot of this is just so different than what we think of Miele today. So the motor is the same one that would have been used in the high-end Kenmore at the time. So my question, I guess, would have been, you know, back in the day, if Performance Reviews was looking at this, is why would you buy the Miele over the Kenmore? And I've thought long and hard about this, and here's my conclusion on that and why somebody would have purchased this. It's all about filtration. This machine would have filtered better than the Kenmore of the time. And that's, I think, the reason why somebody would have purchased this. Now, as I'm doing this is just like, makes me ultra nervous doing all this. Because again, if I break something or something is cracked or whatever, it's just not available. I think I did that right. Yes, that is correct. All right, then these two yellow wires just go right here. The wiring and stuff is super simple. No complaints about that. All right, and this would go on the end of the switch. And then our cord rewind has to go in here. And I didn't actually do anything really to the cord rewind. Might have to just real quick give it a little bit of love with some 409. Made in West Germany. Oh, just in between my drill. I was gonna say, drop a little bit of oil on that. That's about it. This roller up here is interesting. They stopped doing that. Give that a little love. Man, a lot of this is just like so Miele in terms of how it goes together and just like everything fits perfectly. It's amazing that they really have been doing it this way for so long. I guess that's what happens when you're not publicly traded. Alright, we got everything just on there how it should go from the looks of it. So let's go ahead and put her in place. Kind of just like a modern Miele. Or some Mieles to come, you know, a decade later, I guess. Is everything just sits in the back and works like that. So let's put some screws in there. All right, real quick here, I took some Krylon clear coat like you can get at Walmart, and I just quickly clear coated this piece after removing the rust. And this is just an air deflector, but I wanted to make sure it wasn't going to rust anymore. All right, so there's that part of the machine. Let's get to work on this section because this is pretty intricate. I think the first thing that's going to go on is this thing, this air diverter. Pop those on, plastic clips. It is amazing how long plastic will last if you do it right. And then I have this thing. All right, so this gives you an idea just to like how intricate these machines were. For whatever reason, that has its own lens separate from this. They could have easily molded these as one piece, but chose not to for some oddity. So let's put this back in. There we go. Let me put a thumbprint on that. So that goes in there like so. It just slides in there real easily. Alright, then you have this guy, and I'm always confused about which way these things need to be going. Definitely that way. So that goes in there, and that just goes on there. And again, there's a gasket here. There's a lot of things done a little bit differently than how we would do them today. Now, for the part that's a little weird, is on the older Mieles, what holds the lid up are like these things, which evidently I forgot to wash. Alright, so now that I've cleaned all the carbon dust off those are going to go like so on here. I'm just going to put these in place like that. So let's do that. That's in place, and now let's grab one of the screws and tighten her up. Sorry, it's probably kind of hard to see, but the hinge and screws are right there. All right, so now this had the optional, this was a big option back then, was this thing. And what this does, they would put this in, and I get the question all the time from people, when do I cut on this line? Well, as you can see, these model numbers actually coincide with this machine. This is when you cut it, 200 series machine, the only time. So this also is going to take a modern bag, which won't be as big as the chamber, unfortunately. The problem with this is the cardboard added a little bit of friction to this, where these new bags are plastic on plastic, so there's not a lot of friction on this. So when you're doing this, just make sure it's lined up like so. Now we're going to open the compartment. Well, let's go ahead and fire the old girl up and see how she's doing. And at some point, the plug looks like it was replaced with a genuine plug. Sorry, I've got some handprints on here I just need to wipe down. All right, let's see how she does. Right. Well,
now the full bag check indicator wasn't working, and I have about additional 10 minutes of footage of me messing with the thing. It really just isn't going to work at my altitude. I opened up and cleaned it, lubricated it, and did everything proper. And there's no adjustment like newer Mieles. So that is a difference between these older ones and the newer ones, is the bag check indicator can't be adjusted for altitude.
Thanks so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up, and definitely hit that bell notification. That helps us out a whole lot on the channel.